Alright, here we are for round 1 in our M15 draft. Looks like we've won the die roll. Oh, sorry. Still getting used to the new client a bit. So we won the die roll. We would love to play first. Okay. And this hand is not great. No 2-drops, but both colors of mana, no red, but we have turn 3 Netcaster Spider, which is a great stabilizing play. And I love that I can just play this and then just have Gather Courage up. That's just great. So I will keep. It's not a great hand, but I think it's better than the average 6. So I'm going to go ahead and keep, and we'll see what we get. I think that I would prefer to play against a red deck as opposed to, like, a blue control deck. And just because I think that, we have 3 mana 2/3s, we have 4/4s, we just have a lot of beef, which is decent against that sort of deck. Let's see, so main, attack, block, yeah, that sounds right. It looks like it's imported my settings. Make this a bit bigger. That looks really good. Oh, red, perfect. Ask and you shall receive. Okay, so that's not great, but I think I'm going to play this just in case, I don't know, I need green mana. I don't think I want to, risk for some reason not having the mana I want just to conceal information. Alright, so it's red-black, could be more aggressive, could be more defensive. Looks like aggressive, and I think this is actually really good for us because, oh wow, Spirit Bonds. Okay, so now I can decide I can either play it or I can play the Spirit Bonds, but I think I just want to play it because we don't have any more lands, and if I don't get another land, then I can't play this and do this even if I decided to play the Spirit Bonds this turn. And if he's playing turn 2 Torch Fiend, I think this is exactly the sort of... I think that I don't want to be playing... I don't want to be, goofing off. I kind of want to just be straight up playing creatures, and of course it's going to make Spirit Bonds worse, but, I mean, look, if I don't draw enough lands, then Spirit Bonds just isn't that good. Alright, so here's the question. Do I Gather Courage? Because if I do, I get to save my guy, but I can't really block, because then we'll trade. So what'll happen is we'll trade 2 for 2. Well, what I could do is Gather Courage and then take 2 from his guy, and I think that I want to do that because I don't actually have the mana to play anything else, so I'm going to go ahead and Gather Courage. Oh, I can't even block anyway. But yeah, I am gonna save it. Because it looks like my opponent might not have the 3rd land. They might have it, but they might not. And I definitely want to have something on the board, and if I don't draw a land, that's all I've got. And wow, looks like they do not have another land, so that's really good for us. We can attack, or we can just leave it back. And that's pretty close because my opponent is stuck on lands, but I think I want to use the fact that they're stuck on lands to just generate an advantage with the Spirit Bonds, because if I play it now, the next turn I can play the Sungrace Pegasus and make a 1/1. So I think I'm going to play Spirit Bonds and then just pass the turn. Spirit Bonds is a great way to win a game, just kind of a card on its own, and but you really have to have enough time to make it work, and I think that my opponent missing land drops here and being able to save my 2/3 is exactly what needs to happen. I guess if it died and I was able to play the Sungrace Pegasus, that would have also been pretty good, and I could still leave up the Gather Courage, but I like the way that this game is going. Alright, so my opponent finds his 3rd land. Let's see what they play. Gargoyle Sentinel. That's interesting. That's pretty good. I can still trade the Netcaster Spider for it, but... And plus, it's going to take his whole turn if he wants to attack with it. So, we'll see. I'm at... Ooh, on the week. Oh, wow. So, if I draw a land... Ooh, okay. So, we've got some options. Option number 1 is play this, make a 1/1, which I think is pretty good. But while my opponent's tapped out, I think I want to hunt the weak, making this a 3/4 and killing his Gargoyle Sentinel. I think that's... Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So, we're going to do this. Wow, yeah. So, this is just working out really well for us this game. Again, I have the option to attack. If I attack, though, he could trade, and that's just not exactly what I want to do. I could have attacked first. Oh, no, because he has a 3/3. So I don't really have the option to attack this turn. And then if we draw land next turn, we'll have the option of Sungrace Pegasus, make a 1/1, and just charging Rhino. And I think that I'm going to lean towards the former because it's just... Oh, it's certainly better against Typhoid Rats. Yeah, so depending on what we draw, probably just going to play this, make a, make a 1/1 next turn, sorry. Alright, so we have options once more, but I really do think that that's better. I don't want to attack because I don't want to trade for his Typhoid Rats. So I'm going to go ahead and play Sungrace Pegasus, and I'm going to have to play another white, so I'll leave that. We get a Spirit Bonds trigger. Okay. And then we're going to be able to start beating down in the air. You know, what would be really nice is to draw another land, because that way I can play Charging Rhino and still make a 1/1, which would allow me to attack with 2 things in the air, while still having a 1/1 flyer back to block the Typhoid Rats. And to be honest, I think I will lean towards attacking with these 2, even if I don't have a blocker for the Typhoid Rats, just because it's only 1 damage and I'm attacking, you know, 3-point life swing with my Spirit. I guess the comparison really is the this 1 damage to this 1 damage. And you might think that since my deck is, you know, I have a Spirit Bonds, I've got big stuff, I might want to just not trade life totals. Shadow Cloaked Vampire, alright, so that's pretty decent. We can Constricting Sliver it, and he can block my guys now, so that was a pretty good play by my opponent. Although I can block it and trade with my guys, so, alright, Titanic Growth is really good, because now if I attack, let's see, I'll become a 5/6, and he's tapped out. So I think what I'll do is attack with both of them, because, wait, this will become a 5/5? Yeah. I'll just attack with both. We'll see what my opponent does. And then if he decides not to block, then that's actually pretty tough. I think I will still play the Charging Rhino. Or I guess if he doesn't block, then I can block with the Netcaster Spider and Titanic Growth. So my opponent is going to decide whether or not they would like to call my bluff, and, oh man, this is going to be great. I really, really hope that they block the Sungrace Pegasus, because then I get to gain 5 life, in addition to just the killing his guy with my Titanic Growth. Which I guess isn't that great, because, you know, I'm wasting 3 mana, so I'm basically paying 5 mana for his 5 mana. But, yeah, this is going to be really good. Yeah, this game is going really well. I'm happy with this, how this is turning out. And I got to even hit him for 2 with this, so this is just like... This is great. I'm happy. This is exactly what I want to see. Alright, so there's a 6th land from our opponent. I don't think they're mana flooded because they did miss their 3rd land drop, which is awkward. But their deck, you know... Alright, so there's another Shadow Cloak Vampire, which is pretty good. So if we get a land, we'll have the option of playing a Constricting Sliver on his Shadow Cloak Vampire and then attacking. Okay, but we hit a Charging Rhino instead. So there's the option of waiting until we get 6 mana so that I can get full value of the Spirit Bonds from this. Or I can just play the Charging Rhino, which I think is what I'm going to do. So the question is, do I want to attack? And I think I might want to attack with this, because I can sack the Spirit Bonds token to save it. No, I think I would rather just leave it back. Well, because he could block with this, or he could just take 3, and then I'd have to chump. So I think I'll just leave it back. But then I'm not going to be able to leave up the one and a white. So maybe, well, this is pretty tough. There's definitely a lot of lines here. I could attack. If he wants to try and trade, I'll just make it indestructible. If he wants to try and trade any there. But if I do attack, and then he decides to attack with the Shadow Cloak Vampire, the thing is, I'm winning that race. And if he attacked with the Shadow Cloak Vampire, then I get to attack with these 2. Yeah, I think I want to attack with the Netcaster Spider, because I'll have these 2 to block these guys as well. And then if he decides to try and trade, then I'll sack my Spirit. And then if not, then I think that I'll just play a Charging Rhino. So let's go to attacks then. Yeah, I think attacking with this, and then like if he can't race this. I mean, unless he attacks with everything, but I have blockers for his little guys, and this just by itself can't race this guy, because this is gonna, I'll be dealing him 5 essentially, and then I'll be taking 4. Okay, so he's gonna try and trade, and I will give it indestructible. Pay 1 white, sacrifice a Spirit. Alright, so we traded our 1/1 for his 1/1. That seems pretty good. And if he wants to attack with both of his guys, I can block his. And this is a fine trade. Like, it's not the best, but I don't really have any artifacts I care about, but I think this is a fine trade, and I'm fine to gain 1 life and trade with his 2-drop. I mean, I got the 1/1 to trade with his 1-drop, so I'm ahead. Or, well, maybe not ahead, but this Spirit Bonds has already made up its value. And otherwise, we've just been trading 1 for 1 this whole game, and I'm 6 life ahead. I have a 3/4, he has a 4/3. So it's a pretty tight game, but I've got a lot of power in my hand. I really would like to draw some lands so that I can get full value out of the Spirit Bonds. Alright, so Cone of Flame, Siege, wow, Siege Dragon. Destroy all walls. So I think I really hope that I draw a land next turn so that I can Constricting Sliver it. Although it doesn't actually, I can take 5, so I can wait a couple turns. I don't have any walls. I don't have anything that's going to die to the Siege Dragon. So that's not too bad. I would like to Constricting Sliver that ASAP, though. And, of course, this is a kind of a... It's risky, because if they have a Lightning Strike, then, you know, it's... Then they can just get their Siege Dragon back, potentially at instant speed, which is really scary, but It's better than just letting them have a Siege Dragon. Alright, sure. Yeah, I mean, I can race that. Although, I guess if he has a 5/5 flying, I can't really race it. Trading 2 life for 4 here is good for my opponent because he's black-red, and I have... Okay, so yeah, I'm going to make this trade. Definitely making this trade. Let me just make sure I'm not missing something. My opponent's tapped out. Yeah, I don't know why I wouldn't block. Definitely going to conserve my life total. Land. Wall of Mulch. That's a pretty interesting draw. That's pretty good, actually. Because then I can block his Siege Dragon. Won't die. Yeah, I think that's pretty decent. Oh, I guess this guy actually trades with the Siege Dragon, doesn't it? Yeah. No, I think Wall of Mulch is pretty good. I think I'm definitely just going to play that, make a 1/1. And then what I'll probably end up doing is I'll try, if he attacks with this without paying life, then I'll block and chump. And I plan to actually end of turn sacrifice the Wall of Mulch to draw a card. I could have drawn a card now to try and hit a land, which actually, that's pretty tough. If I do that, then I don't have the mana to Spirit Bonds unless I draw a land, so I actually would. I don't want to attack. I'm not going to do this because I actually really need to have this Spirit so that I can threaten this. This Spirit Bond's making this indestructible and eating his Siege Dragon. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass the turn here, even though I might have been able to draw a land and play it anyway because it's just so risky. Kranko's Enforcer, deal. Alright, I can race that. Or I'll Constricting Sliver it, worst case scenario. But that's something I can deal with. I don't think I ended up with, with any Bronze Sables or, Gargoyles. So, yeah. Alright, so I'm just going to draw a card. Siege Worm. Interesting. Alright, so Kurd Chieftain. Alright, well, we can't cast that. So how many creatures do we have? So I guess that's kind of lame because the Wall of Mulch would have helped us cast the Siege Worm. I think I could just cast it right now, but that doesn't really do that much for me. Because then he gets to hit me with the Siege Dragon and the Shadowclad Vampire, and I go to like 10 or something, I'm going to take 11 if I do that. He'll go to 13, and then I'll be able to crack back for 8 if he wants to race. That's no good. I guess there's really not a ton of options. I could just pass, which I think I have to, because the awkward thing about just passing here is that the longer we sit here, the more damage he gets to do to me just for free with his Kranko's Enforcer, but I don't think I can afford to shields down. I guess if I play Charging Rhino, and then he attacks with a Siege Dragon, then I'm fine trading my Netcaster Spider without the ability to Indestructible with Spirit Bonds. And then the Charging Rhino is just going to be a lot better as soon as I draw that other land, because I'm going to be able to Constricting Sliver the Siege Dragon and attack. Or the Kranko's Enforcer. I'm not really sure. I think I can afford to wait 1 turn. I think I'm going to wait 1 turn. My opponent doesn't have anything. I'll take 2 damage from the Enforcer. We're still in a stalemate. And then we'll see what I draw. And who knows what I'll draw. Maybe I'll draw a land. And then if I draw a land, then I've got plenty of options. Because I can Charging Rhino, make a 1/1. I can Siege Worm and leave up this blocker. I can Constricting Sliver, exiling his Siege Dragon, putting me way ahead. I can Constricting Sliver, exiling his Kranko's Enforcer, putting us back into a stalemate, which is really good. Just because of the Spirit Bonds and... Alright, so Child of Night doesn't really do anything. I'm probably going to take 2 here from the Kranko's Enforcer. Let's see what my opponent decides to do. Yep. That's fine. Alright, so let's see if we can get a land. We did not, but Sunblade Elf is an interesting draw. Yeah, I think I just want to play Sunblade Elf, make a Spirit, and then leave up this Indestructible. I'll be right back. Okay, and back. Sorry about that. So, we decided, yes, I was going to play Sunblade Elf. And am I going to attack this turn? I am not. So I'm going to play Sunblade Elf. You know what I just realized is that my opponent has a Siege Dragon that he can attack with and kill my Sunblade Elf. So that was actually pretty bad of me to not realize that. However, it's not that bad because I can still make it indestructible with the Spirit Bonds. And then my opponent would have to trade with the Netcaster Spider. Of course, then I lose the Netcaster Spider, but So the question really would be, which is more valuable to me at this point in the game? Netcaster Spider that's a 3-4 or Sunblade Elf? And the answer is probably the Spider, because nothing else in my hand can really block flyers. And my opponent has 2 of them. So I think if my opponent decides to attack with the Siege Dragon, I am just going to have to let the Sunblade Elf die, which is really unfortunate. So yeah, that was a pretty bad play on my part. But yeah, I mean, really would just like to draw a land here. And again, yeah, there's definitely an argument for just playing the Charging Rhino. It just leaves me open to, you know, my opponent attacking with the Siege Dragon. And if my opponent doesn't attack with the Siege Dragon this turn, then I'll be able to leave double, you know, activation up, potentially. So I can protect both of them if necessary. Alright, so this is fine. Like I said, the Krankos Enforcer is a really good play here because I just don't have anything that can block it or removal for it. And yeah, I would really just love to draw some lands. Of course, now my Siege Worm is a lot more castable. If I wanted to, I could play. All right, here's a land. So I could play. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total, 9. So I could play Siege Worm, leaving up Netcaster Spider and the 2 mana to Spirit Bonds. I couldn't play it and make a token off of Spirit Bonds while still leaving the 2 mana up. So the question is, would I rather have a 1/1 or leave up 2 mana? And I think leaving up 2 mana is a lot better, just because I can save this guy or I can save this guy if my opponent chooses to have the Siege Dragon. Alternatively, I can just play a Charging Rhino, make a guy, but then I can't leave up the Spirit Bonds. Or play Constricting Sliver, hitting the Siege Dragon, which actually might be better, because then the next turn, because then this guy's safe. And the next turn I can start to maybe attack with my guys and then threaten Sunblade Elf's ability. And then maybe play Siege Worm. But this is pretty risky if my opponent has a Lightning Strike. I think I'm going to play the Constricting Sliver. And I'm not going to attack. I guess I could attack with the Spirit or 2. I'm not leaving up to protect any longer, which is unfortunate. Alright. Siege Dragon. I could have hit the Krankos Enforcer as well, but I think I can race that pretty easily, and I don't have any more mana for that. So, exile that. And, yes. So, if I attack with the Spirits, my opponent could pay 2 life to eat one of them. And since I have the Sunblade Elf, I don't think I wanted to do that. So I'm just going to pass the turn here. And we'll pass it back to my opponent. We'll see what they do. Really would just not want to see just, like, kill your Constricting Sliver. Like, that would just, that'd be, like, really sad. Otherwise, this game's going pretty well. I mean, basically, we're pretty parity on board, you know? Like, we're pretty close on board. But I have 4 really powerful cards in my hand. Although one of them is uncastable, so really 3, but still, like, well, the Charging Rhino is not. I'm not saying it's really powerful, but it's a very real card, and I think that I'm favored in the long game here. I think I definitely am favored in the long game. All right, so see what my opponent has drawn. Hoping land. Yeah, so that Sunblade Elf play, not great, but it looks like things are going to work out. He can still... Oh, okay, Lava Axe. Okay, so just conserving his mana. My opponent... Heads up play by my opponent there. Probably going to plan to kill me in 6 turns with the Krankos Enforcer, which is a fine plan. So the question really is just, can I erase that? And I think the answer is yes. That's the plan anyway. Alright, so there's the Twin Grove. It's not great here. It makes 2 3/3s, which isn't really what I want. I really think that Siege Worm might be the thing, but I want to think about attacking with Sunblade Elf potential up. So if I attack with the Netcaster Spider, let's see. So if I attack with the Netcaster Spider and my opponent wants to trade, then I can Spirit Bonds or I can Sunblade Elf, whatever. So they can't really block it. And I guess it's sort of the same with the Constricting Sliver, because I can just give it Indestructible. I think it might be smart to try and leave this up as much as possible. Because my opponent's tapped out, so, like, I'm not worried about this dying as long as I keep this up. Yeah, so I think I might want to just attack. Let's see. If I attack with this, then I'd have to pump him, and I can't do that and that. I think I want to attack with these 2. And then if my opponent doesn't block and just tries to attack with the Shadow Cloak Vampire, then I will be willing to just block with one of the spirits. That's totally fine with me. If I do that, then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 9. So then I can play the Siege Worm and leave up a spirit and a white. And I can actually make another spirit. So I can play the Siege Worm, make a spirit, and then leave up 2 spirits to block. So, okay, I like that play. Let's attack first, leaving up the mana to Spirit Bonds. Yeah. Oh, well, I guess I could hold this back just so that I can use extra. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So then I'll leave up the 2 mana. Yeah, that seems better. The 3 damage is important, but I think leaving up this is going to be like something that's going to help me really win this game. Because if keeping this alive is really, really important. So my opponent figured out how Spirit Bonds worked. Is going to take 3 damage. So I'm going to go ahead and 2 of those and cast Siege Worm and tap all of these. Okay, so I need to pay 2 more mana. So I'll tap this guy. Okay, I'm not going to end up making a spirit. So let's undo. Tap this. Well, no, I mean, because I'd rather have this spirit. So I'll tap this. Oh, yeah, and I don't get to make the spirit. So I'll end up with this blocker and this blocker. Okay, that's fine. And I will not do this. I'll decline. So, oh, I guess I could have... Oh, I did that completely wrong. Yeah, I was going to tap this spirit, and then I use the extra mana to make another spirit, so I'd have the same number. That was silly of me. All right. Well, okay. That's okay. I think that that's not going to change the game, but that's definitely something I should have seen. Generator Servant. That's fine. That's scary, but it's fine. Man, Spirit Bonds is just an insane card. You know, we have all these other actual cards that we could be playing, and we're just using Spirit Bonds to wreak havoc on our opponent. It's really good with Constricting Sliver, which is interesting. Because, you know, you can keep it alive, which makes it into a 2-for-1, basically. Yep. Alright. Take 2, can't block it. And I guess I can block with the Curd Chieftain eventually. Alright, so what are we going to do? I think we want to attack with this guy and this guy. Leave backup blockers for Shadow Cloak Vampire. We can attack with the Constricting Sliver. And then end up just playing this guy, make a white, and then leave up Spirit Bonds. I think that's fine. Yeah, I can attack with this, because he can double block it, and block this, and then I could just sack 2 spirits. Or I could pump, which doesn't do anything. Because I'd lose my Constricting Sliver, so. Yeah, I think I'm going to attack with these 3 guys. Don't want to attack with the Sunblade Elf, because he'll block it with the Shadow Cloak Vampire, although 5, 11... I think I actually just want to Alpha. My opponent's fairly dead. Oh, okay, so like, if my opponent's at 14 and I Alpha... then he can block, assuming he doesn't pay 2 life. Oh, I don't have any flyers. Okay, so if I Alpha, my opponent will take 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so block here, goes to, okay, doesn't take anything. Block here, or, yeah, and then block here. So he's taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then if I pump, then he'll take an additional 3 and take 10. No, additional 4. So it's not actually lethal if I attack with everything and then I pump. However, I think I still attack with everything because it forces him to block because I have the threat of pumping. And then instead of pumping, I'll just make this guy indestructible. Yep, alright. So the only question is, do I play this first? And I think no, because I want to have the option to double Spirit Bonds. Alright, so let's go to attacks. Yeah, I think attacking with everything. And if he blocks wrong, then I can just blow him out. Or not blow him out, but, you know, win. Yeah, I don't think I have any ways to get rid of this Child of Night. Or first strike it down or anything. Right, I will attack you with all the things. And the reason that this is not that risky, like with my opponent, you know, with me at 7, is that my opponent basically has to block with all of his creatures. If he doesn't, he's dead. And he's going to lose his whole board, except for this guy. So, I mean, I'd be dead to another Lava Axe, and that's fine. That's the price you pay. But if my opponent doesn't lose the rest of his board, then he's dead. So, now I took 5 minutes to do my combat math. My opponent's going to take 5 minutes to do his combat math. I'm pretty behind in time, though, so I should keep an eye on that. Um, yeah, so let's see how my opponent decides to block. I think there are a few different ways that you can block that keep my opponent alive. I don't think that's one of them. I guess if you take 5 and just block those 3. Okay. Interesting. So the blocks are declared. Could pay 2 life. So my opponent's at 14. Right now taking 1, 2, 6, 9. So if I pump, my opponent is dead. All right, let's try this again. It's like my opponent is at 14 life. No, if I pump, my opponent takes 13. So their block is the same as whatever I thought of. So yeah, so if I pump, my opponent takes 2, 4. 5 is 9 plus 4 is 13, and my opponent will gain 2 life from the Child of Night, and then I'd probably just be dead because they'd have the Siege Dragon. Yeah, I'd be super dead. All right, so I am going to sacrifice. I'm going to save the Constricting Sliver. That's the first thing. This one. 1 and a white. Sack of Spirit. And do I want to save the Sunblade Elf as well? So the question is, would I rather have a 1/1 Spirit or this Sunblade Elf? Well, and if okay, so I need to just let it die because I need to keep up in case my opponent draws a removal spell for the Constricting Sliver. And it's the same reason that I can't play this and make a Spirit. However, I can still just play it this turn. I think I will because my opponent's pretty close to just being dead. So yeah, I think I'm okay with the rest of this. And I'm just going to let it happen. And I'm going to play this, but still leave up 2 mana to sack this to save this again next turn if that becomes necessary. So yeah, we'll let this happen. And it's unfortunate that we don't get to threaten the Sunblade Elf next turn, but my opponent is pretty in dire straits. Cancel. Alright. So this looks good. My opponent has to have a Lava Axe to kill me or some other way to do 5 damage this turn, and otherwise he or she is very dead on board. Alright, what do we got? Interesting. Lifelink. Wow. That's a pretty swinging card. That could really change the race, but I don't actually think it does. My opponent goes to 8, and they're dead. Oh, I guess they can block with this. Let's see. So if I don't draw a removal spell, I think my opponent's still just dead. Because if they're at 8, and they block 3 damage, and they still take 11, yeah, my opponent's dead on board. So, my opponent's turn. Okay, yeah, they scoop. Alright, so, before we go into sideboarding, Lightning Strike, Gargoyle Sentinel, Red-Black, just Shadowcloak Vampires and aggro cards. So I don't know if this is a matchup where I want Staff of the Wild Mages. It actually might be. So let's go into the sideboard. Let's see what we have. What's good? This could be good. Plummet actually seems pretty good. He had the 2 Shadowcloak Vampires. Undergrowth Scavenger seems okay, just because there was so much dying. I don't think Naturalize is that good. He has a target for it. I like Titanic Growth because it's just a cheap way to interact. What's bad? Siege Worm isn't great. Charging Rhino is not great. Twin Grove is okay. I think actually it's pretty good. Just as a 6 mana, just like put 2 bodies into play. Meteorite's pretty bad. It is a removal spell. But yeah, so I might take out these guys just to add some consistency. And add Titanic Growth. And maybe Scavenger just as a creature, although it's pretty bad early. Maybe Plummet. Although Plummet's pretty inconsistent. I could add... Oh, I'll just add a 2-drop. Perfect. That's exactly what I want. Alright, so I think that the deck just, you know... Like, last game would have gone similarly if I had just played these guys and I just had so much stuff. You know what? I think I want to play Plummet because he has the dragon. So I need the Plummet, and I will remove one of these guys. Okay, is this better, actually? I think this might be better... than Bear. No, because he's red, so he can have Cone of Flame? I don't know. Red Black. He could have Crippling Blight. Alright. So, is there anything else we want to take out for the Swift Claw? One of these Rhinos, perhaps, or a Siege Worm? I don't think so. I think, actually, this might be... No, you know, my opponent isn't, like, hyper-aggressive. I think that this is where I want to be. Take out my Splash, put in a Titanic Growth. Oh, you know what? I'll take out the Titanic Growth for a Swift Claw. It's just gotta be better. Put in a Plummet. Yep. Alright, this looks good. Let's keep going. Alright. So. What are we gonna see? Hopefully looking to you know, have a Midnight Guard or a Netcaster Spider in my hand. That would be ideal. Maybe a Marked by, or a Hunter's Mark? Hunt the Week? That was a really good curve last game. I would be very happy to see the same curve. So, alright. Wow. Alright, well, I tell you what, this is a really insane curve, so I'm going to go ahead and keep. Now, my opponent is on the play, which is definitely better for my opponent because they're an aggressive deck. Uh-oh, one drop? Please no one drop. Wow. Yeah, you know, we're not going to use this very often, or very quickly. My plan here is just to curve. I'm gonna play it on turn 2, but I'm gonna curve this into this into this, and I just have to hope that that is gonna be enough to keep me from dying. This is a really scary 1-drop. All right, at least there's no 2-drop. Do extra damage. Oh no! Stop! Okay, I think I saved it. All right, so I want to play Spirit Bonds. Doesn't really do anything. Okay, so let's F8. All right. So yeah, okay. So if I play Midnight Guard, then I play my 4th land. I can play it, but that would leave me shields down. And I don't really think that is what I want to be doing. So I guess it'd be pretty good with Spirit Bonds. I guess okay. Well, I'm gonna play Midnight Guard for sure. And I couldn't even Spirit Bonds if I wanted to. And of course, oh, you know what? I didn't take out the mountain. That was pretty bad of me. Yeah. So if we go to the 3rd game, then I will definitely take out a mountain for a plains or a forest. Probably plains. Go Spirit Bonds. The deck is interestingly plains hungry just from the Spirit Bonds, so I might swap out a plains after sideboard next round. So if my opponent doesn't play a creature right now, I think I might just do the Nissa's Expedition play because I'm not that scared of taking that much damage. But if my opponent goes to play, you know, like a big 4-power, like if they play like a Scrapyard Mongrel, that's a 3/3. I guess the Midnight Guard doesn't block a Scrapyard Mongrel really, so Carrion Crow. Yeah, so I can't block that anyway, so. Oh wait, no, but I can Hunt the Week. That's kind of the point. So the question is, should I Nissa's Expedition next turn, or should I just Hunt the Week, making this a 3/4, and then I get to block his 1/1, and I kill his 2/2. My opponent could have. There's not really anything for 1 red mana in this format. There is Crowd's Favor. Okay, what would happen if my opponent has Crowd's Favor? 2 for 2? That's not too bad. Plus, you know, they could always have it if they lift this guy up. So it's not like this 1 red mana is telling me anything about that. But Nissa's Expedition for a couple of planes would be pretty good. I mean, that would mean that I get to untap with 6 mana, so I could play Charging Rhino and make it 1/1. Jeez. And I don't even have any more lands. I could. No, I couldn't actually. I think. So the choice here: Hunt the Week or Nissa's Expedition. It's really close, actually. I think. I guess if I play Hunt the Week, that way next turn if I draw a land, then I can play this and still have my 3/4 to block. Yeah, and I don't have a ton of ways to deal with a flyer either, so I think I just want to do it when my opponent's reasonably tapped out. And you know, Coward's Favor could happen, or Crowd's Favor could happen, but I don't actually lose value on it. It's just my opponent using their Crowd's Favor to kill my Midnight Guard. And I could attack safely. Do I want to trade 3 damage for 1, potentially 2 damage? I really think I don't. It's better, like, it's more damage for me than it is for my opponent. But I think this matchup is really a factor of preserving my life total, although I am really far behind on time. Wow. Oh, wow! I'm so silly. I have a Midnight Guard, so if I attacked, my opponent could never do more than 1 damage, because if they wanted to pump this guy, then I would have been able to untap. That was silly. Alright, so I gotta be a little quicker. I think I'm just gonna play Nissa's Expedition and pass. Actually, I might attack. Let's see, if I attack, my opponent doesn't play, then I get to take 3. No, I'm just gonna play Nissa's Expedition. I'm gonna get 1 of each. That way my Colonian Twin Groves are bigger, but I still have more. Okay, mountain or forest, plains. All right, no attacks. Pass the turn. I'm trying to go a little faster. This game is looking pretty good for me because I didn't draw a ton of lands, but I did draw this, which is a nice 2-for-1 when you're not drawing lands. My opponent has only 5 lands in play with six things, and I have 4 things with 7 lands and a Spirit Bonds. So what I think I'll probably do next turn is, depending on what my opponent plays this turn, just attack. And then I'll play the Midnight Guard, make a Spirit, and untap my Midnight Guard. Or I can just play Charging Rhino, make a Spirit. Actually, that's much better. Yeah, I have 7 mana. So if I draw a land, this is really good. Because I can play Charging Rhino, make a Spirit, and still leave up Titanic Growth. But if I don't draw a land, I think I'm still just going to play Charging Rhino. Alright, so here comes the Dragon, most likely. Dragon's pretty scary. 6 mana. Miner's Bane? That's also scary. Haste. So if my opponent attacks with the Miner's Bane, I am blocking 100%. That's just because it can't get trampled this turn. But likely, I don't think my opponent's going to attack. Oh, really? Alright, so I don't know what we're playing around. I guess another Crowd's Favor? I mean, not another one, just a Crowd's Favor. Yeah, I know, I'm on block. I mean, wow. Well, that was bad of me. I apologize to the audience who are watching me fail at Magic Online. I guess we know my play, so... Yeah, that was pretty bad. I really would like to have traded there, because now my opponent can give it trample. And I'm going to take a ton of damage. So that's really not what I wanted to see. I guess I can use Titanic Growth instead of this. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. And I want to leave up this. And I will yield. What? Oh. Okay. Wait. Okay. Always yield. Yep, okay, that's it. So yeah, this game could very well hinge on me taking a bunch of damage there from this Miner's Bane. That was pretty bad of me. But I think I can still win. I think I can definitely pull this out. Now, my opponent has 6 mana, so if I block with this and they pump twice, Titanic Growth isn't enough to save my guy. I might still do it just to save damage. No, that's terrible. Then I take a 2-for-1. What I'll probably just do is sack to make it indestructible. I guess I could double block. Wait for him to order blockers. No, if my opponent pumps twice, then no matter what, Titanic Growth is not going to do what I want it to do. I guess I could Titanic Growth this. No, because I'm still losing something. No, that's terrible. Alright. So I'm going to block with the Midnight Guard because I think that the Charging Rhino is worth more. And then I'm going to make it indestructible with the Spirit. So I'll block with the Spirit too, because why not? And we'll see what my opponent does. And I'll probably take 4 damage. Go to 8, which is really scary, but I don't think I can afford the card advantage loss of using the Titanic Growth here. So, we're going to block. See what my opponent decides to do. They need to order the blockers, and then they're going to activate Miner's Bane, of course. Give it trample. Yeah. Really just a big punt from me. If my opponent doesn't activate, do I just let it happen? I think I do. This is actually interesting, because I could sack this to give this indestructible, but then I would take 4, and so the question is, would I pay for life to have a Midnight Guard? And I think the answer is no. I think I would just rather let this happen. I think this is the safe route, and I think that the way that this game is going with the Spirit Bonds, I think that that I win more games like this. I really do. I mean, there's definitely an argument for either way. But I think my opponent made a little misstep there by forcing me to make the first move, because I'm totally willing to just save the life there. Alright. So, the nice thing is I can actually make a 1/1 flyer and then to use Titanic Growth to eat the Shadowcloak Vampire. And I could get blown out doing that. Alright, so I definitely want to play one of these. Okay, so I want to leave up green for Titanic Growth. And then, so, okay, I have 8 mana. I want to live up 2, so I have 6 access, so I can't play both of them and make 2 spirits. I can play both and make 1 spirit. Which one do I want more? Do I want a Midnight Guard? Or more Wall of Mulch? Do I want to attack with this too? I think I do. I think I want to make a spirit and then attack, leave up the 1 white. So I think I'll play Wall of Mulch. Because I can block the Foundry Street Denizen. So play Wall of Mulch. I will make 1. And then I'm going to attack with the Charging Rhino. Can't double block, so it's probably just going to force me to do that, which is fine. Oh, wait, no, that's not fine. Oh, I screwed up. Alright, I'm going to take some damage. Yeah, this isn't going well. But I think I need to save the Charging Rhino. And now I don't need to leave up Titanic Growth anymore, but I don't want to play Midnight Guard and not get a 1-1, because that 1-1 is the only way I can even have any. Yeah, so I guess I just have to pass the turn. That's pretty sucks. That doesn't make any sense. But, okay, so I just need, I need to get the Charging Rhino going so that I can at least have a clock on my opponent, but now I am going to go down to 8 life. My opponent is going to go down to, okay, well, I mean, if they don't choose to pump, then I'm going to block, because I do have this Titanic Growth. And I can still Wall of Mulch sack it if my opponent has some other thing, so there's no way I get blown out by this. Alright. Because I'll be a 4-8. Alright, declare attackers, cast instants, I will block. My opponent is going to just let that happen, and I'm going to Titanic Growth. So, nice. That worked out really well. So my opponent trying to get as much value as they could by not paying life didn't pay off for them. Broodkeeper, that's a scary one. I'm gonna have sex here. I do really need to conserve my time. I'm about 6 minutes behind. All right, well, there's nothing really to say here, but just we're attacking and then play this, make a 1-1, pass the turn, and then oh wait, actually, I guess I could sack the Wall of Mulch now. But I think I'd rather just leave it in play for at least the time being. Which is kind of silly, I guess. Yeah, I gotta play a mana. I think I'll sack the Wall of Mulch. Well, no, because my opponent has 2 attackers. I kind of want to just end of turn sacrifice it. I don't have any other walls. I'm just gonna sacrifice it now. Yeah, alright, well, we'll do a land, so... Best turn. Yeah, I'm really running low on time here, so I really want to try and close this game out using the Charging Rhino. Alright, that's fine. My opponent seems fairly... like they don't have anything. I don't know if there's a word for that. Fairly empty on gas? I don't know. Lava Axe. Alright, well... okay, that's not what I meant to do. Alright, sure. Magic Online, ladies and gentlemen. Really me trying to use Magic Online, ladies and gentlemen. So, the fact that my opponent has a lot of chumpers for my Charging Rhino is a worry, but it's okay. Just gotta be sorry, that's pretty good. I like to have that in reserve. Do I want to attack with the Midnight Guard? I don't have any things. Do I want to attack with the 1-1? I think I do. You remember, my opponent's gonna be able to attack. And I am at 7. Do I want to keep this guy back? Okay, here's the thing. Yeah, I don't think I need to. I'm just going to attack with this guy. Alright, that's fine. Yeah. Alright. I could have played the land. Could have not. Whatever. So, if my opponent plays Mind Rot, that sucks. Yeah, I guess that resolves. Wish I'd played the land now, but, I mean, I already have 11 lands in play, or 9 lands in play. Plenty of lands. I don't think it's going to matter that much. And if my opponent attacks a Broodkeeper, I will double block. Netcaster Spider, sure. I'm going to attack with the Midnight Guard, because... oh, well, I guess my opponent... you know what? It's fine. Oh, well, my opponent could double block, actually. Well, no, because then I could sack this, and... so I'd be trading the Spirit for a Foundry Chief Denizen. That's actually fine, because I really need to close this game out, so I'm just going to attack. And I'm about to make another Spirit. Oh, you know what? I should have attacked the Spirit. What am I doing? That's my bad. I'm silly. Yeah, so he just makes the safe block. Yeah, that's fine. And then Spider. So, trying to play quick. I should have attacked with the Spirit, but I figure if I'm attacking in 4s, then the Spirit only matters once, but yeah, that could be a whole turn for my opponent. Alright! And we did it. So I was really worried about the time there, but that game worked out pretty well. I think that we had a good matchup, and I'll see you guys in round 2.